we were on Instagram and I just like searched Mormon. It was like the first 15 videos were all anti. It's like, holy cow, we are really losing this battle. Was it the same on TikTok?
If like not 10 times worse. I liked Apologist, but there's a lot of church apologists. It's really growing right now. And I am so glad it is because they're way smarter than I am and they're way more scholarly and professional about it.
But all of the antis are almost all our age.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're here to counterbalance that a little bit.
I know. I do think that people see me as a counter to them.
Yeah, you're a fantastic counter. Where does the courage come from? I mean, that's always for me the most interesting part.
Welcome to the Holy Rebellion. Welcome back to the Rebellion. I'm Christian. We got a guest host with us.
Cameron King.
And we also have Lauren. Lauren, tell us about yourself.
I'm Lauren Yarro. I have a podcast called The Blonde Apologist, and I'm on social media.
Why the Blonde Apologist?
Everyone asks me that. So before I started my podcast, I was actually on TikTok, and I started defending the faith on TikTok is kind of how I saw it. I was in social media for marketing night. That was my job. And I saw how much anti stuff was out there on TikTok. And I was so like thrown back by it. I was surprised by it. And I got on social media and I'm like, I'm just going to let people know that I love being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints because I wasn't seeing that. And so that's what started my TikTok journey. And I did TikTok for about 2 years. And it turned into me really defending the reasons why I chose to stay in the church. And that's kind of where I got the name Apologist from is, I have arguments for things that people think are very critical and are very critical of our church for. And that's what I was doing on social media. So I liked Apologist, but there's a lot of church apologists. It's really growing right now. And I am so glad it is because they're way smarter than I am and they're way more scholarly and professional about it. And I took Blonde because I'm like, I don't want to be taken super seriously. Like, I'm not going to give you like the perfect scripted answer. I'm just going to tell you my answer. And I didn't want to point too much to the church because I don't want people to think that my views totally represent the church. Like, I'm just representing myself and what I believe and why I am defending the faith.
And you did this 2 years ago?
So I started TikTok 2 years ago, and then I started my podcast last year.
Okay. So we started like a year ago. And one of the reasons we started is we were on Instagram and I just like searched Mormon. It was like the first 15 videos were all anti.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, we are really losing this battle. Was it the same on TikTok?
If like not 10 times worse.
Really?
It is worse on TikTok than it is on Instagram.
So we're on there, but we didn't start till like 5 months ago. And I don't know. It's a rough place though.
And it's funny because when I transitioned to the podcast and I was on Instagram, I built a community that now I'm not on TikTok. And I'm actually like...
You just abandoned it entirely.
Kinda. I'm thinking about coming back and just doing having fun with it and not even doing church stuff. But I don't know. I feel weird about TikTok.
But now you're doing more of this podcast world. Like I just listened to your podcast with Shima, and that was amazing.
Thanks.
You guys both were incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing. She had great answers.
I think I saw the teaser to that. I didn't have a chance to watch the podcast yet, but I really wanted to after watching the teaser. I was like, dang, I want to know what the answer to that question is.
It was so good. The questions were incredible, and obviously the answers were amazing. But yeah, I was just so impressed.
Yeah, I feel like there's more women needed in this space. And I feel like people my age, there's not a lot of podcasts and content that's targeted towards them. I think that we have a lot of pro LDS podcasts that are like General Conference and Come Follow Me heavy. And I'm like so grateful for them. But I noticed that I'm a geek for those things, but my friends weren't. And they weren't engaging and stuff like that. So I wanted to create a space where women my age were entertained, they had fun, and we talked about some of the taboo stuff that we don't get to talk about in church. And that's why I started the podcast.
I love that. And you mentioned there's not many women your age doing this on our side, but on the other side, they're almost all, I think we're the same.
Right?
But all of the antis are almost all our age.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're here to counterbalance that a little bit.
I know. I do think that people see me as a counter to them. And I don't know if I'm good enough for that title, but...
Yeah, you're a fantastic counter. Where does the courage come from? I mean, that's always for me the most interesting part because it requires an enormous amount of courage to put yourself out there like that consistently.
Yeah.
So where does it come from?
I grew up in Oklahoma, which is the Bible Belt of America, and all of my friends were evangelical and Baptist, and their pastors preached against my faith. So I always tell people God was preparing me for this from a very young age, because I was told from like my teachers and my track coach and even my best friend that like I was part of a cult, and like how wrong my beliefs were. I remember as a freshman in high school, I came to school one day and my history teacher had brought his Bible and he wanted to Bible bash me. He pulled me aside after school.
Oh, not in class, but after
No,
that.
after class, he asked me to come over to his desk, and we started reading through scriptures, and he started telling me why my beliefs are false. And so from a very young age, I had to decide, why do I believe these things? Is it worth standing up for these things? And I loved my upbringing so much, and I love all those individuals too. I have great relationships with them because they were such awesome missionary opportunities for me and growth experiences for me. So I'm not angry that that was my experience. I really think it was the Lord preparing me for this, because now I feel very confident in why I believe the things that I do, and people can say what they're going to say, and I don't really care. I mean, of course it affects me in some ways, but I have my husband to get through those moments.
There you go, teamwork.
Yeah.
So you're track coach, huh? So I just like picture you running down the track. He's like, it's still a cult. He's just coming after.
I remember he would like mock me and ask me to pray before meets sometimes, and it was so weird. It was a really weird dynamic. And they knew I wanted to go to BYU, and they were supportive of me, and they even like helped me, because I almost did go to BYU, but I ended up quitting because it got pretty bad.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But no, I'm not sorry it happened the way that it did.
Yeah, it sounds like you were prepared for this from an early age, and we're glad you were. So you've been doing this for a couple of years. What have been the benefits? What have been the fruits of you being online?
I tell women, because a lot of people will come to me and ask me, like, is it worth doing it? And I'm like, I know it's such a scary space, but it is so sacred. The amount of growth that has come into my life because I've had to be on my knees asking hard questions that I hadn't considered because of criticism that I'm receiving online has helped me grow so much. And it's fun because you're partnering with God in something, and like he totally enables you in a way that I couldn't do this on my own. So I'm grateful that I trusted in that prompting and went for it, because watching God turn me and this into something that I didn't think it could be has been such a privilege. And it's just an honor to, I don't know, that's an exciting part about it. So I think anyone who's thinking about doing it, know there's so many fruits to be had.
What's your advice for someone that wants to, is maybe feeling the call, like they want to put themselves out there, they want to defend the faith? How do they get started? I know, because it's like that fear of like, I want to do it right. I don't want to make mistakes. What's the first step though?
I would say start small. I would say like start within your community, like talk to people about your faith and have these conversations with people in your life. And if you feel like it makes you want to talk more and more about it, then eventually you are going to want to get online and talk to the masses about it. But I would say get the confidence even in person to have these kinds of conversations, and
That's amazing.
that would help you get the motivation to grow, get bigger.
Do you ever get just DMs from people that just make it worth it? Sometimes we get those.
Gosh.
You probably get countless of those.
Yes, those. Yeah, and I don't even feel worthy of those. It's so weird, but I'm just so grateful that I did, because it's like, oh, it's worth it. Like I helped that one person, and I've even had people come full circle, like people who were very critical of me, and then come back and be like, I'm so sorry. Like I hadn't felt the Spirit in a year, and then I listened to this episode thinking I was going to hate it, and I'm going back to church now. You know, like, I don't know, like stuff like that. And like, I'm glad I started, because even if you help the one person, it's worth it. And those messages, mean so much.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you started too. So if people can't get enough of you, where do they go to get more?
I'm just Blonde Apologist on Instagram and on TikTok and on anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm mostly on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and YouTube.
Okay, go check out Lauren and join us at the Rebellion. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining this episode of The Holy Rebellion. We'll see you next week.